On this episode of Les Roll Radio, we ask a spicy question. Can you get a black belt without training? This is Les Roll Radio, a combat sports podcast. I'm Kelly Shinnicky.
And I'm Andrea Shinnicky. Welcome to the podcast.
It's been a long time, and I want you to know that this podcast started with Andrea telling me that I should get a new co-host.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really cut out for this.
And this was your idea to do this podcast.
Yeah, it was. I just feel like I'm bad at talking, so...
It's fine. I talk a lot, so I got you, girl.
Yeah, well, here we are.
Okay.
It's been a minute.
It has been a hot minute. Basically, we had a toddler start preschool, and no one in our household has been healthy. I'm not, if anyone can't tell that with my voice. No one in our household has been healthy ever since.
Yeah,
at the same time.
It's been pretty rough.
So I said we have to get one out before the end of the year. And here we are on the 30th, recording one to come out on the 31st.
Last minute.
Yeah, but we're achieving our goal.
Yes,
Hell
we
yeah.
are.
Goal achievers.
That's a great way to start the new year.
Yeah. So I want to make our last few months quick because
Okay.
I want to get into the meat of this episode and not bore people to death. So we're going to rapid fire as best as I can, as verbose as I am. What has happened?
All right.
Nogi Worlds.
We went.
Oh, that was real fast. Maybe when we do goal setting, we can talk about it more. I don't know. No?
Sure,
No?
yeah.
You have nothing on that?
No.
Just, it happened? Okay, cool. It happened. CrewFit BJJ.
It is happening.
It is happening. So our only update with that was we had mentioned that CrewFit, the gym we attend, launched its own BJJ program.
Yep. Woo.
Super exciting. The change is that, guys, I don't know how it happened, but Andrea and I are running the program now.
That is true.
That's the rapid fire there. It's a longer story. It's not a bad one. It's all good. I didn't mean to make that sound sketch. But yeah, didn't think that was going to happen. So that's happening. So that is wild and exciting and time consuming.
Yes.
So I'm annoying the shit out of our coaches right now because that's all official January 5th. So I'm updating curriculum, working on competition camps, just bugging the crap out of them. But it's all going to be good.
I don't think they mind.
Well, I hope not, because I have definitely been annoying them. Rapid fire on camp. If you're interested in our LGBTQ plus grappling camp, the Les Roll Career Grappling Camp, it's in April, the 17th through the 19th. We have over 50 people registered. In the past, that was sold out.
Yes.
Which is an achievement. We have more mat space because CrewFit has expanded.
Woohoo.
It's super nice. You're going to love it. And that means we can have more people. But I'm mentioning this because we have never been sold out in December. And so I said, we are not going to sell out. And it looks like we might, even with expanded space. So I never hard sell you, but if you want to come, you should register and not hold off until it gets closer to March or April, because I really, really don't think we're going to last that long in terms of capacity. And I also want to just reiterate that I don't want cost to be an issue. We have a pay what you can option. We have generous sponsors. CrewFit obviously sponsors us, allows us to use the space, but we have sponsors Laney Laws, Petra Russell, Joe Sturm, Molly Reese, Clyde Green, and Slime Mold Grappling, who have given us the funds to ensure that we can offset the cost for people who are using the pay what you can model or getting full sponsorships.
Yeah.
And we have gyms who are sending their athletes too. So they're not running their sponsorships through us. They are just sponsoring their own athletes and sending them.
That's so great.
Yeah, it's so great. Lots of different options. Also, if you want to do a super fight, we would like to have more people doing super fights. Reach out. If you're not in our Discord, you should be. And it's not LGBTQ exclusive. We have closed channels for camps, women, LGBTQ, but it's open to everyone. It's just
the Discord.
The Discord. It's just a combat sports Discord, but you should be in there. But regarding the super fights, reach out through Discord or email. And at some point, we still want to move to a full tournament. Yeah. So we want to work with our friends in the Pacific Northwest on that, doing one here in the Midwest. That is still the intent long term, but we want to ensure that we have the interest at the local level to be able to do that. So that's why we're running the super fights for now. And we still plan on doing a tournament and working with those folks to make that happen. Final rapid fire thing before we get into the topic for today. I believe I've mentioned this before, but we are officially a nonprofit. We have been for a hot minute. So we have the Les Roll Foundation. It is aimed at programming for marginalized communities in martial arts. So not jiu-jitsu specific and not queer specific, although we care very much about that sport and that population, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, we would like to expand in 2026 our programming to low-income youth as well as women, and not just BJJ, but Muay Thai as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important to us, and that's stuff that we are talking about right now. If you have thoughts on that, ideas, want to collaborate, let us know. And with that, I think that's the fastest I've ever been. That was good for me. It
was speed.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to get into our topic for today. And so the question and the title of this episode, it's rage bait, I'm not going to lie. But I recently saw this come up where someone said, my hot take, it was Paige Ivette, actually. I think she was on another podcast. I don't remember where I saw it. Is that, and it's not a spicy take. It's not a hot take. But people who don't train shouldn't get black belts.
Yeah.
It's really rage bait because I think we all realistically agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it does happen. She's not wrong.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Happen.
Yeah.
We've all seen it happen. So I want to start with this question for you, Andrea. What do we actually mean when we say someone trains jiu-jitsu?
I would say not just like mentally doing the jiu-jitsu, but physically. So physically working.
So you have to be in a gym?
I would say in a gym setting.
Sure.
So whether that be physically at a gym or training at a home dojo with people, I think you need to be physically working with someone.
So not just intellectualizing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, yeah.
And not just teaching jiu-jitsu, I'm assuming you mean as well.
Yes, I do.
Well, I agree.
Okay,
I don't think I have anything to add to that. But I think the key there is knowledge of jiu-jitsu is really necessary, but it's not sufficient. And I think what we see sometimes is, you have to have an intellectual understanding of jiu-jitsu, but it is a sport. And by its very nature, it's embodied learning, not just conceptual knowledge. I say that as someone who understands it better than I can execute it.
Right.
So I am not advocating for something in my favor here.
Right.
I think there's a path, as we're going to talk about, for everyone to get to black belt, but I think it looks very different for everyone based on their attributes and honestly their work ethic too.
Mm-hmm.
But it is about embodied learning, and you can understand jiu-jitsu to a certain extent intellectually.
Yeah.
I consume so much. You know that. I am crazy about watching instructionals. I watch them daily. I consume jiu-jitsu constantly. Biggest sub-meta fan on the planet. But timing, pressure, the decision making in the moment, how to actually execute things live, you can only do it that way.
Right.
You can only do it live, right? You can't think your way to a black belt.
Yeah, bottom line.
I mean, that makes me sad. I've said
because
that all the time.
Could.
If I could take exams, it was more like judo. I mean, I actually think judo, you have to do it too. But some dojos.
Belt testing, but intellectual testing.
If I had to do a judo belt test, I would be able to just, if I could do that equivalent in jiu-jitsu, I would be able to just skyrocket through the ranks. I don't think it would be earned.
And I would never be able to.
Yeah, actually. I mean, really, not to be, but we both have different attributes.
Yeah, intellectual learning is difficult for me.
And it takes me a little bit to put things into practice too. I think as I've gotten better at jiu-jitsu and have a better conceptual understanding, it gets easier. But I'm not particularly athletic. I started it later in life in my 30s. I mean, I have those things going against me. So we're very different in that way, but we both agree that both are necessary. But just thinking about jiu-jitsu isn't training is kind of the key.
So how do you bridge the gap between knowing jiu-jitsu and being able to actually do it?
I think it's just repetition. And I think if that's harder for you, you have to do it more and more and more. I have had periods of time where, and you have too, because of injury or because you're training at a particular place where there are not as many safe training partners as you would like. I've narrowed my list of training partners, but I also think that's not ideal. That's not an ideal training thing. So I think getting the repetition in with a wide variety of people is the only way that you can bridge that gap between understanding it and being able to do it and being willing to fail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
No, I mean, really, I've said that a lot with specific techniques when I teach them to people. There are some that I think there's a really high failure rate when you start doing it initially because you're going to mess up in some consistent ways. People consistently will mess something up. And it's when you try doing this, you're probably going to get swept and swept and swept, but you're going to figure it out. So just repetition and having the humility to try things that you're not good at and be more intellectually curious than you are interested in winning, and variety of training partners. And that can be hard sometimes, especially for women, folks who are injured, have certain limitations. I don't think you can just roll with one person and get meaningful training in.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. So as an instructor, you're teaching a lot, teaching doesn't replace your training. So how do you bridge? Like, how does that work?
I think we're still figuring that out, right?
Yeah.
For us. I got through purple belt, not being the primary instructor in a program. I got halfway through purple belt,
Yeah.
not being the primary instructor in a program. And you, same like to Brown, where you've always been a student.
Mm-hmm.
And you help me teach, but you're still predominantly a student.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, which you would acknowledge. You're more the competition coach.
Mm-hmm.
But you're usually a student in the traditional classroom setting. So I don't know that I fully have a good answer for this, but I think this has to be tough if you are the main and only instructor at a gym. I think that you immediately have a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, if you have injuries, that can be a disadvantage. You know, maybe you've started jiu-jitsu a little bit older. I mean, like, there are just a number of things that can be working against you at different points in your training. I think that honestly, being the main instructor and not having someone to learn from on a day-to-day basis can be a disadvantage. And so you have to work around it. For us, we're really lucky in that I teach 50% of the classes.
Mm-hmm.
Not 100%. And I guess of the jiu-jitsu classes, I'm closer to like 65%. I'm trying to do quick math and I'm not good at math. I have other people I can learn from. I do privates weekly. I can go to open mats, not just our own. And I can train in my own classes when it's like CLA and it's not technique and I don't need to watch folks as much. But I do, for the most part, have to focus on the students when I'm there teaching. So I have to really be very intentional when I'm not with learning. Yeah. I think that's the answer. But again, I feel like I'm so new into this that I don't know. I've taught for years. I've taught women's classes for years. And I've filled in for co-ed classes. Teaching regular co-ed classes and teaching the bulk of the classes is something new to me as of the last 4 months. Mm-hmm. So it's like a strange new thing that I'm navigating. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't know, because like you said, I've always really been a student and I'm not doing much instructing.
We tag team.
Like, I help, but I am kind of training in your classes usually, especially if we have even numbers. So I think it's been really hard for me because we have taken on that new role and I don't do a good job of learning via instructional or looking at a YouTube.
So you really need the class time.
I really need it.
Yeah. So you have that though. So you're getting that. So that's good. So I think it's being self-aware of that. What I don't think is good is if you are just teaching all of the classes and you're not learning from someone. And I think people will say things like, oh, that's why we go to seminars and expand our learning. If you're a black belt, I get that. But if you're like in my position where you're a mid purple belt or even your position as a brown belt, I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't think being an instructor is enough. You have to be a student too. And I'm not saying, again, that you can't get through that, but you have to do a lot of extra work. And it's probably going to mean that your journey takes more time.
Yeah.
Because you're having to kind of supplement that learning because you are not learning. You're not in a classroom setting learning from someone else, 5 days a week, like your students are. Who's training 5 days a week? I guess we are.
Yeah.
Petra is. Yeah. Like people do 2 days a week, whatever it may be. But yeah, I think you have to understand that it may take longer.
Yeah.
And you have to work around it.
It makes sense.
I also think that I guess this is related, not related to teaching, but another thing to keep in mind about the journey to black belt or like the journey just throughout jiu-jitsu that applies at all ranks, I think, or should, is the difference between a specialist and a generalist and how that's an incomplete framework. And what I mean by that is if you are in an instructor role where you are intellectualizing jiu-jitsu more, you have to do a certain amount of broad learning for the sake of your students. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, it takes something away from your A game and becoming a specialist. And I think the balance is really important. I talk shit all the time, but I think if you do a takedown to a Darce and you win every fucking tournament, but you can't pass the guard, I don't think you're that good at jiu-jitsu, right? Even if you just got your black belt, which happened. I don't think you have like a wide, holistic understanding of jiu-jitsu. That doesn't mean that you are A game good at every single thing by the time you get to a brown or a black belt. But you have to have some sort of like, I don't want to say basic, but I think you have to have advanced knowledge in all areas. Like, I don't do takedowns, but I understand them intellectually and I don't need to do them because I pull guard, right? I like submitting from bottom, but I need to be advanced at passing. I need to be advanced at top positions. Was I when I first got, like, let's say my blue belt? No, it was a gap I had to fill as a guard player. But like, I would hope as I get closer to brown belt that I am filling those gaps or have filled those gaps by that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then by black belt, certainly, right? So not saying anyone's going to have like not have an A game or not have their specialty, but I think you do have to have an advanced general understanding as well. But I think if people are teaching regularly, they tend to become generalists. And I think that is also bad.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have a really strong A game, they're not good at rolling. You know, I mean, like, I don't mean that to be shitty, but like they just kind of know a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It also makes your teaching superficial because like I can watch almost anything and I can teach it.
Yeah, I can't.
But you know that about me.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I understand it deeply.
Right.
It doesn't mean I will even remember it again. And so I try not to do that generally. I try to really like teach things I have a good understanding. So when I get questions, I can actually understand, like explain intellectually. Like I want to teach things that I know how to execute live because I'm going to understand those things better than I just kind of memorize the moves.
Yeah, because you know it at a unique, a detailed level because you can hit it in live scenarios.
Yeah.
You can help answer.
Like I don't do, what choke were we talking about earlier?
Peruvian necktie.
Peruvian necktie. I don't do Peruvian neckties. I've never done one in a roll. I don't know why. I'm just not a choker in general, but I've only been taught it a handful of times in class. And one time I was in a class and the coach had to leave because someone came in that they had to talk to. And as often happened, I was like the highest ranked person in the room. And that coach said, "Can you teach the Peruvian?" And I said, "Can you show it to me once?" Showed it to me once on someone. I was like, "Got it. I can do that."
Mm-hmm.
Like if anyone in that room had intelligent, detailed questions about it, it worked because no one else really knew how to do it.
Right.
So I'm not saying this to talk shit, but I'm just saying like that is, I think, an inherent risk also of being someone who's not training and is more in a coaching role getting to your black belt is that you're going to be driven more into the generalist direction and less have that deep specialized knowledge of jiu-jitsu.
Because you're trying to get an understanding of everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's,
how do you balance the two?
I have no idea. Trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, you don't teach as much, so you can kind of just hone in on what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I just try to divide my time. So, you know, I used to only watch instructionals that I cared about.
Mm-hmm.
I now will do basically 2 days a week on curriculum and 5 days a week on things I care about. That's still the bulk of my time on things I care about. So I think that's the right balance, is more than double the time I'm spending on myself selfishly. Yeah. And,
I mean, you still have to.
And then a percentage of the time is being, I mean, I think everyone has to. But I think especially me, I'm a purple belt.
Yeah,
I want to get my brown belt.
You're still learning.
Yeah, I'm still learning. And I have to do that to get to that point.
Yeah.
So that's how it's worked for me. I don't know. If people have better advice, I think we'd both be open to it, especially me, because I teach a lot.
I mean, I'd be open to it too.
Yeah. Another thing I'm really interested in with all of this is, you know, we're saying you have to train, you have to roll with people, you have to be able to execute things. You can't just understand it.
Yep.
If you can't do it live, like against your peers,
we're both
Adrian and I are
shrugging.
like looking at each other shrugging, like, then you don't really know it.
Yeah.
But asking selfishly as someone who has been chronically ill for the past year, and asking selfishly as one of two people in the room, you being the other one who's had some serious injuries in jiu-jitsu the last couple of years, how do like those things factor into it?
Yeah, because that can really throw a wrench in your learning and or even instructing and teaching, not being able to do the things.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stop you from progressing, is what I would say to anyone.
No.
It can be harder because you have to really, really focus and ensure that you're trying to learn still. I think it's important you show up. So
I think that's the biggest thing people do wrong is I think you should be able to take breaks, but they just, when they can't do stuff, they leave.
yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, that people, they get injured, things are going on, and they just leave. We talk about that all the time. And you can, again, jiu-jitsu is doing. I'm not saying it's the same, but intellectualizing it is still better than nothing. Being in the gym or doing things with restrictions. I mean, I'm not trying to be like, look at me, but like I've had surgeries and I show up back at the gym every single time. Mm-hmm. The only time I don't show up at the gym as if I have something that's contagious.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like I have a virus, I have something, like I'm not gonna be that person with the flu or a cold in the gym. But otherwise, surgery, I'm still there. I broke my orbital floor and I had to do my drilling on a dummy because if I had gotten even
touched in the face,
it would have been really bad.
Yeah.
Just showing up still, I think, is huge. And then again, we just keep talking about like limitations and these things. It just means it may take longer.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't show up,
or even if you do show up, but you're not able to execute.
Well, yeah. But showing up may take slower and more time, but not showing up, you stop progression completely.
Yeah.
So
it's still better.
It's still way better.
It's still better. And I think there needs to be a lot of grace and room for people having different things going on in their life at different points. But yeah, no, you can't not train and progress. But I think that also like I fucked up my like body at blue belt. Like I trained way too hard and I have some like really bad injuries that I've been dealing with. Like I had a really bad knee injury this year that I dealt with, I would say, for a solid 8 to 10 months of the year.
Yeah,
like
I was about to say 8 months.
Yeah, it was really bad. And it's like, those things rack up early. Like you rack them up at blue belt, you rack them up at purple belt. It makes it harder to get to black belt. But, you also, I think, at least my experience too, is like the more you learn jiu-jitsu, the lower the threshold for like the next step becomes, because it becomes more about refining things than learning like broad strokes. Or filling in big gaps. And so you can be, I think, more intentional with your training, but you just have to be training. So you can be smarter, more intentional. I don't think you have to roll to death.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And I do think if you're showing up, another thing to keep in mind is like I have a left arm that goes numb. So sometimes I do a round and I'm done. And I have to wait until the feeling comes back. And depending upon how many rounds we get that night or that day or whatever, I might not get a ton of rounds in. And then there are times where I can do 3, 4, 5 in a row and I don't have an issue. And so if you're there frequently, you'll get your time in too. If you go train once or twice a week and you have a shitty night with, your injury or a chronic illness, like you're not really giving yourself the grace and the space for that.
Yeah.
You're going to probably feel pressured to roll, or you're not going to be able to, and then you're not getting good training in. So I think showing up frequently too and being really intentional with that helps. So it may look like, you train multiple days a week, but only get a round in or two, rather than train twice a week and, go balls to the wall with a bunch of rounds in one night. I think that can be more sustainable for people actually.
Yeah.
Rest days are important, but I mean, you may have to like pace things out rather than have like a couple hard training days. I think it's totally dependent on your body.
Yeah, I would agree. So thinking kind of back into the injuries, how should injuries and physical limitations kind of factor into promotion decisions, as we're now instructors? Like, what's your take?
I think that the standards that you meet need to be the standards that you meet. I think that those things just change, maybe like length of time. I had like a really big existential crisis, as this past year, where I said, I don't think everyone has a path to black belt. And I've never said that publicly. I don't think I agree with that anymore. I think that was never about other people. That was about me questioning myself and how sick I've been and how injured I've been, if I could ever get there.
Yeah.
So I made it like a broader thing. And I really think I've come to believe that like everyone does have a path. It just looks different. And I don't think promotions should be based on one thing alone. But I do think you have to meet all of the things and like at a certain base, depending upon the particular belt. And I've heard it described as like a pie chart when there are multi-factors. And I don't like that, because that infers that you could be really shitty at one of the factors and make it up elsewhere. And I don't think that that's right. I think it's more for all of the factors, there's a minimum standard. And that's maybe more how I would frame it. So using our factors as an example, how we promote. One of our biggest criteria is technical knowledge. I would actually say it's probably the biggest factor. So that includes, technique, your knowledge of technique. The things we talked about earlier, kind of your general fundamental knowledge, relevant and scaled to your belt level, as well as your A game. So your specialty knowledge, your ability to perform under live resistance. So rolling, specifically with peers, with factors such as weight, age, sex being considered as well, right? Because it can be unfair if you're comparing, an athletic young wrestler to, an older grandmother, right? Understanding why the techniques work. So the intellectual understanding, being able to explain, not teach.
But explain.
But being able to explain to show that you have that understanding. And then, as I said, the individual game balanced against the fundamental knowledge. I think that technical knowledge is huge.
I agree.
I think we both are very much in favor of that. I think, and he can disagree with us if he ever listens to this episode, our coach, my coach, Jacob, agrees with that. I think he generally falls into the technical kind of realm. I do think competition matters. If you are competing, not your outcome, but how serious you take the prep, your growth from it, how you behave in competition.
Yes, yeah.
I don't really care if you win or lose. And in fact, I think if you win, but there's a difference between, it's like a Venn diagram. We have, I know you can't see my hands in the air, but we have a circle that is competition IQ, and we have a circle that is jiu-jitsu knowledge. And then there's that overlap space, and I care about that overlap space when it comes to competition. I don't give a shit about all the other competition IQ things. That's not sport jiu-jitsu. That's competition jiu-jitsu. So that's all cool. But like, there are people who are not holistically good at jiu-jitsu, as we talked about earlier, who can be good competitors because they're so narrow. I don't think that those folks should progress as fast. And so I think sometimes actually competing too much and being really good at competition can actually inhibit your growth because you're not filling in your gaps.
You're focused on your A
Yeah,
game.
and you should be if you're in a competition mode.
Right.
But then you're inhibiting your growth. So I think like it's one of the reasons I switched to only doing one big competition a year, because I do an 8-week camp for it. And that is my time of really honing in my A game. And it's really good for that. And then I can spend the rest of my year being a little bit, I still am trying to stick to my game at this point in my jiu-jitsu journey, but I can be a little bit more explorative and a little bit more experimental and give up more things and get smashed more, etc. Mat hours, not mat years, mat time. I hate when people say, I've been doing jiu-jitsu 10 years. It doesn't fucking matter if you don't train. And you don't train regularly and you don't train hard or with intentionality. So mat hours and how intentional you are with your training when you're there. I don't give two shits at this point. I used to disagree with this too. I don't give two shits if you're there for the vibes. It will take you longer though.
Yeah.
I used to be like annoyed by that because I'm so serious about jiu-jitsu and I just don't care anymore. I'm so like at peace with the fact that everyone
is doing whatever.
Yeah, and comes to the sport for different reasons. And if it's good for them and they're not disruptive, like who cares?
Yeah.
Like let everyone have their small joys. But mat hours and intentionality while training, attitude and character. And some of it is like the intentionality, taking the training seriously, less about you, but like how it relates to your partners, you know, being a good training partner, people who are mentors and are showing sort of like leadership. I think those are things that kind of can give you a little bit of boost in terms of promotions. So those are our factors.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a brown belt and a purple belt.
Yeah.
So like, I can't tell you how that applies to the black belt conversation that we led today with, but I would imagine this is a framework we would stick with, you know, forever. Like I don't see this changing much. I think we're pretty committed to this.
Yeah.
And I think that this can apply at all belt levels. So long-winded answer of like injury and physical limitations factor into those things in that it may take you physically more time to achieve any one of them.
But with this framework, you can get there.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if you are out for injury, maybe your mat time is less.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not. You're showing up. And so you're getting a lot of mentoring, teaching in, coaching people for competitions, and you're learning a lot. Your technical knowledge is good. You can explain things, but you're not getting the drilling hours and the rolling hours in, and you're not getting like live resistance in. So that's like a piece of it that's missing. That part might take a little longer, but you're doing other things. So those things will help you progress faster if you have these limitations. So I think in summary, you can't get a black belt without training jiu-jitsu. And training is training jiu-jitsu.
Doing it.
The sport. And it is a sport that is sparring and rolling based.
Yes.
You have to be sparring, you have to be rolling. It doesn't have to always be hard. And in fact, I think more people should be flow rolling, but you have to actually be doing the sport and training. And an intellectual understanding is important and it's a piece of the puzzle, but it's insufficient. I mean, I always know more jiu-jitsu than I can execute, so I don't like saying that.
Right.
But it's the reality. It is a sport. It has to be actually done. You know, teaching seminars don't replace regular training. You can learn through those, but you have to be doing the training.
Yeah.
And I really think that you have to learn, drill, roll to get to black belt. And so if you are below black belt and you are running a program like we are, you have an extra hurdle. Right? Because your time is divided. You're in service to your students, which is a huge responsibility and one you should take seriously. But you have to be selfish with your time and you have to train too if you want to get there.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think that's it.
I think that's great.
You know, my favorite thing is having spicy takes about black belts and professional athletes.
Right.
I say that all the time. And I'm sure people will listen to this and be like, why are these non-black belts talking about this? But why do you listen to our podcast if you think that? Actually, fuck off.
Yeah.
Listener questions. Don't cut that out. Keep that in there. I mean it.
Okay, I'll keep it in there.
We had 2 listener questions. Shocking given the amount of time since our last episode.
Yeah.
Where are all of you? Are you on hiatus too? What is up? First one is tips on implementing CLA, so constraints-led approach or ecological approach.
So I don't write the CLA games. So Kelly?
Okay, so we decided initially at CrewFit that we were going to do our classes so that we had 2 advanced classes a week that were CLA, and all our fundamentals classes were like traditional technique, maybe some positional sparring, occasional games, etc. We've changed our format going into the new year, and so we are going to have all of our classes be all levels. So tips on implementing CLA, I think that's a better approach. Our classes are going to be a mix as the instructor sees fit. Based on the thing that is being taught. There are some things like guard retention where games and concept-based games are much better because you're, again, teaching concepts, not moves or techniques. There's not step 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be, a class that you might want to run entirely ecological. Other things I think you really do need traditional technique for. I don't know that I have been fully convinced of like a pure CLA framework. I know there are obviously great gyms, Standard, and others who are doing it, Bodega, and it works for them. So I understand it can be done. I don't know that it's right for our community yet. So all of our classes can be a mixture based on the particular subject matter. Like the way I run women's class is, so I'm just giving this to you for consideration because I've had more than one person ask about CLA. I do a game, a constraint-based game, not positional sparring, like an actual CLA game with all the conditions that are appropriate for that. And I then teach technique that relates to it. And then sometimes I will return to the game at the end or return to a different game to kind of build on it. In a pure CLA class, we just do games. If you are wanting to get into it, I would recommend, of course, looking at Standard Jiu-Jitsu and Greg Souders, all of his stuff. I think there are other great slime mold grappling. Those are the 2 main resources I would recommend. I think there are a lot of bad resources out there. And I'm going to sound a little like Greg. I think a lot of people don't understand CLA and they think positional sparring is CLA.
And it's not.
And they don't understand the importance of the structure of the games, the constraints that are placed on them, and also how you like tier them up if you're doing multiple games in a class, how they build, and how narrow the objectives often have to be in the win conditions. If that sounds douchey to you, just don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. You don't have to do it. But if you find that interesting and you're really interested in it, you bought me actually a couple like ecological books. They're not even jiu-jitsu books over the holidays that I'm planning on reading. If I find them good, I'll recommend them to folks. But like I said, anything from Standard Jiu-Jitsu, Bodega, or slime mold grappling are the resources to get started with that I would recommend. And they've been very helpful to me. So I sometimes steal their games, but I have gotten to where I can now, I think, successfully create my own.
Yeah.
So...
And then I copy your games.
Long-winded ass answer. I hope that's a little helpful.
I think it is.
Next question was, what are you most excited about with CrewFit BJJ? And this question was asked by our friend Brandon before we were taking over the program. But Brandon, now it has a different, different vibe.
So I'll answer first if you don't care.
Go for it, girl.
Okay. Which is already what I was doing before we took over, was the competition side of it. So I'm competition coaching.
And you love it. It's like your best thing.
I love it. So I've just really enjoyed getting our group ready for Worlds, and I'm excited to keep doing that. And I think we got a good competitive group of people, and I'm just excited to be able to get them competing and doing more. What about you?
I would really like in 2026, I think we just made some really cool changes to our curriculum and how we're approaching our curriculum that provides some standardization across all of our classes, allows us to meaningfully dive into topics for about a month, but provides enough freedom and variety for our instructors to teach what they are best at, what they feel most comfortable with. Kind of going back to what we talked about today, right? Like, we're not all experts on everything. So not teaching something superficially, but teaching things they really understand, and they will get to use their specialized knowledge and expertise. And everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. And I think that we come together to be a really strong like coaching unit. So I'm really excited about that. Those like curriculum sort of changes, allowing them to do CLA, do positional sparring, do traditional instruction, have people just roll and beat the shit out of each other for an hour, like whatever's appropriate based on their vision for that particular class and what's best. And everyone takes everyone's learning really seriously. It's just like a really good, smart group.
Mm-hmm.
You, myself, Wes, and Joe. Joe Lamberjack's our new black belt instructor. So really, really excited about that. I just can't say enough about those folks and how good they're going to be and how big of a strength I think it is that we have multiple people and not just one kind of main instructor. I think that that's a huge, huge strength. So you're not just getting one look over and over again. So that's the thing I'm probably the most excited about is that. And then I would just say more generally growing the program.
Yeah.
We already have women's classes that are bigger than established women's programs. That's not to be like competitive or shitty. I don't mean that, but that's a good thing that we've been able to do right off the bat is grow the women's program. But I'm really excited about growing the program as a whole. And I'm really excited about the bridge between, and I'm not an MMA or a Muay Thai person, but bringing in our striking friends and our friends in the MMA program into our jiu-jitsu program.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be a big goal for 2026. So not just getting new clients, you know, who are coming into the gym new, which is fine too, but actually getting current CrewFit members to jump over and cross-train and do an additional sport, I think is going to be really, really exciting. I think it's going to integrate the two sides better.
Yeah, I agree.
So they don't feel compartmentalized and it feels like one big CrewFit family. And I like that our two main sports then, Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, are both led by women.
Yeah.
And I love that this is a woman-owned, queer-owned gym.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting.
Awesome. Yeah.
Long-winded answer again.
Love it.
That's all I do. Sorry, guys. Again, why are you listening to this if you don't like how much I talk? That'd be wild.
I love how much you talk. So.
Thanks, man. All right. What things do we have coming up? I think we only have one thing. Oh, I forgot.
Rewind.
Back up lights.
Okay.
That's not even like a car sound. I don't know what that was.
Questions for each other.
Cool. Oh, me. What, Andrea? If you hear Bernie barking in the background, would you like a 4-year-old Sheltie that
needs a new home?
Ugh. Andrea, what would you like to achieve before your next belt promotion?
That's a great question that I haven't really thought about, but I think...
If only you were provided this question in advance for your consideration in the pre-interview.
I think I would like to do a large gi competition.
Okay. Nerd.
Just to do it at brown belt.
I still want to do gi worlds.
Oh, I do too.
I don't want to train in the gi. I want to go out there and raw dog it, but...
Oh, by the way, CrewFit is now a no gi only school.
Yeah, I'll really be raw dogging it.
So...
How many times can I say that?
But I think I would like to do that. So what about you?
I think I've gotten better at being focused.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to continue to be like really focused on my A game. I feel like I get a lot of experience through teaching with like looking at the areas of deficiency and like learning more about other areas of jiu-jitsu. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think I need to work on? What do you think Jacob would say?
Win no gi worlds.
I am never competing again, so I'm a purple belt for life then, brother.
Well, no, that's what he told me.
Oh, me. What do you say about me?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. This is weird. I feel like I usually have a really strong vision for what I need to do to progress, and I have no clue right now. Not in a like aimless way, just in a I think I'm doing the right things and trudging along.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh, I do have something. I think that I have not trained. Can I say this? Okay, I'm going to say it. I have not trained with good leg lockers since becoming better at leg locks. And since we've been at CrewFit, we've been getting ready for Worlds. So I've not been
focusing on leg locks because you couldn't do them
outside of a straight ankle, right? I've been mostly doing like upper body attachments, so like Choi bars and stuff, or K-guard to back take.
Okay, so now
I want to get my shit rocked by like Joe Lamberjack and Nathaniel and Jacob in actual like leg entanglements.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need like black belts beating me up.
Yeah.
I haven't had that. really. Like,
Okay,
I
yeah.
got good at people who weren't leg lockers. Like,
Right.
so
right.
it's like, I don't mean that's not being shitty. Like, everyone has things they're good at.
Yeah.
But I haven't had that exposure yet. So maybe that
Okay.
is like being able to tear up my leg locks against good people. Pray for me.
Bless. Okay, my question was, what are you most looking forward to in the new year? You know, it was an easy question to think of.
Nothing.
Not one thing?
No. Like jujitsu?
It was an open-ended
No,
question.
I mean, like, I'm excited about the program things. Sorry, I had like a moment of like existential dread and crisis that just crept in, as positive as I sounded earlier. No, the jujitsu things with the program that we talked about earlier. And then we talked about this at the beginning, probably some of the additional programming changes for Les Roll Foundation and branching out into like supporting other marginalized groups that we all care about. I would like to do more collaborative work. I don't want to name any orgs because I don't have anything like set with other orgs or groups. So if you want to collaborate, you know, also reach out to us because we'd be open to that. You know, I'm really interested in women's issues, body inclusivity. Really, like, I've gotten a bug about like doing something for low income youth. Like, I, as a kid, would never have been able to have
do jujitsu.
done jujitsu. My parents could not have afforded even an affordable jujitsu membership. So I'm really interested in like what Guardian does and like really, really thinking about that and like what we could do locally. So I don't know. I think those are kind of like, I don't know what that looks like, but just things I am interested in exploring. What about you, my dearest?
Oh,
I'm like really nutty this episode.
yeah, it's okay. Well, something we kind of talked about, and I literally said earlier that I hate talking and I don't like instruct very well, but I did think that it could be fun. We talked about doing some like gi seminars just so that our students are still getting exposed to gi exposure.
Yeah. Well, I really want to get the new sucker free pink gi, so I need like a venue to wear it to. I need an occasion for the gown.
So I think it could be fun to maybe teach a seminar
For the fashion.
for the fashion.
No, I mean, I joke, but I agree. Yeah, I agree. I mean, so when we moved to no gi, we were just like, y'all said you want a gi, but you're liars. You weren't coming to class. Lovingly. Everyone was coming to no gi class. It made the most sense. It makes the most sense for that demographic at that gym. But the promise that we've made is if you are interested in gi, we'll still support you. Whether that's going and cross-training at another gym or you're getting ready for a competition, show up in your gi, do your rolls in the gi. We'll have training partners in gi. We'll do your comp training in gi. Like, we'll still support it. Maybe we can bring some people in for seminars.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think being like ethical and responsible to those people who are still interested in gi, which includes you.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. So
All right. What things do we have coming up?
Coming up, we have the Les Roll Queer Grappling Camp, and that's April 17th through the 19th in Fishers, Indiana, at our home gym, CrewFit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, girl. Come visit CrewFit anytime.
Yeah, please.
Oh, and if you're like local and you listen to this the day it comes out, which I'm sure you won't, but if you do, the next day, New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026, we have an open mat. I know lots of gyms have them. So it's like come whenever, open house sort of thing, 11 to 1. You can go to others. We don't care. We're not territorial. Come visit us. But that goes for any time you can come visit us. But
Yeah.
we'd really love to have you there.
Yes, we would.
Just that's a thing coming up. So I thought I'd add that. Where can people find us?
People can find the podcast at lesrollradio.com and at Lesroll Radio on TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Instagram. Discord link is in the bio. And you can find me, Andrea Shenegi, at Shenegi A on all those things. And you can find Kelly at Kelly Shenegi on all those things as well.
You can also find the dog that is whining, barking, and crying in the background on Instagram at Bernardo the Sheltie.
Yes.
Fuck that dog. Just kidding. I love him. He's my baby. He barked right after I said that.
Yeah. So
Sorry. He's, I think, being abused down there by the other
By the other Shelties.
By the other Shelties. We have a herd, guys. There are 3 of
it's a
them.
lot.
Don't do it. It's too much. It's too much barking.
That's it.
Bye.